most egregious part of it, do you think?
The opening.
Yeah.
Let me pull that clip up. Holy crap, dude. Look at this. Tim Cass News has got it. In his final address to the nation, Joe Biden shamelessly takes credit from Donald Trump for orchestrating the hostage ceasefire.
Yeah. Negotiation. My administration, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas. The elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed.
Wow.
Because that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's start from the beginning. In this clip that we just played, Joe Biden takes credit for what is the Israel-Hamas ceasefire. People on the left, people on the right, pro-Israel, anti-Israel, they're all celebrating Donald Trump. Dave Smith said before the news was announced that if Trump does pull this off and there's no major concessions to Israel, he will enter his second term as a heroic president. And if he also negotiates the end of the Ukraine war, put him on Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
There have been other people who hate Donald Trump, and I see them tweeting, this is incredible. Donald Trump pulled this off. Actually, quite amazing. Now, Joe Biden has taken credit. The first thing I want to show you guys, let's see if I can, not that one. Here we go. This is a White House statement from Joe Biden. He said, today, after many months of intensive diplomacy by the U.S., along with Egypt and Qatar, Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire and hostage deal. This deal will halt the fighting in Gaza, surge much-needed humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians, and reunite the hostages with their families after more than 15 months in captivity. I laid out the precise contours of this plan May 31st, 2024, after which it was endorsed unanimously by the U.S. Security Council. It is the result of not only the extreme pressure that Hamas has been under and the changed regional equation for a ceasefire in Lebanon and weakening of Iran, but also of dogged and painstaking American diplomacy. My diplomacy never ceased in their efforts to get this done. You see how he frames this? I laid out the precise contours of this plan. You know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Trump did it, and he's going, yeah, but it's just like what I proposed. So he's trying to take credit for it. He takes credit for it directly. But let's just watch this clip, and you can see this is a statement. Donald Trump was directly involved. It's his ceasefire.
Well, this is what I say.
You got to turn that volume down, yeah. We had to crank the volume because of the...
Because you can't talk that loud.
Biden was talking about this.
According to diplomats who were involved firsthand in the negotiation, President Biden refused to put any pressure on Netanyahu. And ultimately, they gave up that any deal would happen. It was... And Don, you and I talked about President Trump. I have no love, and I don't want to give Trump any credits, but I know, but I am in the business of telling the truth.
Same.
Good for you.
Donald Trump intervention has been monumental in making the ceasefire deal possible, and just
she said Donald Trump
to make people understand, President Biden not only refused on multiple occasions to put any pressure on the Prime Minister of Israel to do any deal, people who were involved in the negotiation, including Israeli negotiators, told me firsthand that very often they felt that he was more than backing the negotiating team, the Israeli negotiating team. He was backing the Prime Minister agenda and his desire to stay in office. The Israeli media and Israeli ministers, including Ben-Gvir, today confirmed that it was President Trump. Yeah. Israeli media also confirmed that Netanyahu was already gave up on the hostages. He was willing to sacrifice the hostages for his political desire to stay in power. However, Donald Trump happened to be a transactional president, happened to be a transactional man. He wanted to come to the White House with a win. And that was always his approach.
Let me ask you this then. So why did they not wait until he took office, which is just going to be in about a week?
Because he didn't want to deal with this issue as he get into office. He wanted this issue off the table.
Why wait? Okay.
Yeah, if you can get it done, why?
Exactly. I think Donald Trump would like to have started off. We know Donald Trump, the day of his inauguration or on the day to announce a ceasefire. The fact that it happened on Biden's watch, I think that leads many people to question whether it was. And look, I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Let me just try something for you, Donnie boy. Could it be that Trump actually cares the hostages get released?
Right, exactly.
When you
5 more days.
When you are a political demon and you can't imagine doing something selflessly and not for political motivations, they can't imagine that somebody would do it just because it's the right thing to do.
That's right.
Like I was saying yesterday, it's kind of the officially kind of close to the same deal that Biden has been doing for months, or their administration has been doing for months. But Trump said, "Yo, Netanyahu, this is what we're going to do. Or you're going to suck it up. Or you're going to like it."
I've heard reports that Netanyahu has been either not against getting the hostages back, but has not been trying very hard or whatever.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's basically what she was saying. That Netanyahu didn't care. He wrote them off and was willing to let them die.
And
And
Trump
then
said,
Donald.
"No." Yeah.
See, here's the thing. Brett hit the nail on the head with the hammer. These people are projecting. Don Lemon was telling you what he would do, not what Trump would do.
Yep.
He would let them suffer so that as soon as he came in, he could declare how great he was. Trump says, I don't want that on my record. You get those people free now.
Yeah. Plus, it doesn't hurt that like you have the leverage of a guy that's coming in 5 days. That's like, I'm going to rain hellfire down upon you.
Yes,
and
right.
that kind of changes the leverage of the conversation a little bit.
Well, so there's this viral tweet here. Second City bureaucrat says Israel's are reporting that Trump blew Bibi's back out. And there's this post. I'm not saying this is true, but it's a viral post. And it says, there was no deal, LOL. The great and huge Donald Trump took Netanyahu's hand, bent it behind his back, bent it a little more, then pushed his head on the table and whispered in his ear that he would kick him in the balls in a moment. It's a shame Biden didn't realize this a long time ago.
It's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I'm just gonna pretend that that's the case.
Look, remember, the United States has always had the United States. Just because, as much as like Donald Trump is going to do great things and has done great things just by the force of his personality, the reason that people listen is because he's the president of the United States. That means that it's the United States power, soft power and military power, that actually does the job. So Biden could have done this at any point if he had the balls and people believed that he would follow through. He could have called up Bibi and said, look, this is going to happen. And there's any number of different levers of power that the United States has had at its disposal for the entire time that Joe Biden has been president, and Joe Biden is too inept or too much of a coward to actually do it. So it's great that Donald Trump did this. It's awesome. But it's not like Donald Trump, the man, is what made this happen. It's Donald Trump threatening to use the power that the United States of America has. And it's all... And the fact that Joe Biden hasn't done it is all because he's a terrible president.
I think a lot of the foreign policy we see, or I should say a lot of the actions we see overseas, particularly under the Obama administration, they wanted to happen. The spread of ISIS, the deep state, Obama wanted ISIS to dismantle Bashar al-Assad's government in Syria. So they go, oopsie, it just happens. When it comes to the war with Israel and Hamas, Joe Biden and the Democrats want it to happen. Donald Trump, look, you take a look at Ukraine. The war the war is escalating. It's coming up to the point of war and civil war under Obama. Trump gets in, nothing. Stops.
Yeah.
ISIS crushed. Then Joe Biden gets in, war everywhere. I'm sorry, but I see a pattern. When these warmongers, there's a reason we call them that, get in power, war just happens all over the place. And then when Trump gets to power, it doesn't. And in fact, it's stopping. I think the only reason Joe Biden, it didn't happen is because Joe Biden intentionally didn't want it to. And the only reason he's taking credit for it now is because he has no choice, because Trump said, I'm the president, I'm going to be in 5 days, and I am going to destroy you. And they're like, okay, we'll stop.
Well, isn't the solution to every conflict, every war, every disagreement, communication and agreement between two powerful people? And if whether or not you believe Putin in his interview with Tucker Carlson, he's not even calling me. He's not even trying to talk to me. It's probably pretty reasonable to believe that most, if not all, conflicts could be solved through negotiation and discussion and communication. If he's not doing it, it's no